All right, everyone. Hello and happy Sunday. Welcome to the weekly Q&A office hours. So today we're just going to keep it short and simple. We've got about 40% of the questions are drone questions. We'll do those first, and then we'll go through the IFR questions. As you guys know, if you are on our website, use the vote function. If you're on any of the other platforms such as Facebook or YouTube, just go ahead and write it down on a piece of paper. Don't give away the answer to your fellow students. And for today, it's pretty simple. We're just going to go through, I'm going to bypass the course updates because everybody in this class has already seen these a few different times. I can see everybody who's already here. And what we're going to do is we'll first dive into the UAV drone questions. Even though that you may not be a drone operator, feel free to answer, and vice versa. If you're a drone person, feel free to give it your college try on the instrument side of the house as well. And then we'll just open it up to any other questions you may or may not have. Okay, so very, very simple today. I'll try to get you in and out in the next 40 minutes or so. And we'll go ahead and, like I said, we will start with the UAV drone questions. All right. So first one is, you've accepted football tickets in exchange for using your SUAS to videotape a further construction zone. What FAA regulation is this SUAS operation subject to? Is it A, 14 CFR Part 107, B, 14 CFR Part 101, or C, the operation is not subject to FAA regulations? All right, good job, everybody. So correct answer has it. It will actually be A. It's 14 CFR Part 107. So remember that Part 107, because we're talking about compensation, whether it's money or something else, it's going to make the operation commercial in nature, right? Good job, everyone. All right, let's move on to the next one. It's basically a similar one that we're seeing people miss as well. You plan to operate a 33-pound SUAS to capture aerial imagery over real estate for use in sales listings. What FAA regulation is in the SUAS operation subject to? Is it 14 CFR 107, 14 CFR 101, or the operation is not subject to FAA regulations? Right, nice job. So it's kind of duplicate. It's just asking the question in a different variation, but aerial imagery is really the furtherance of business. So that also makes it commercial in nature. So in this case, you're going to be operating under basically 14 CFR Part 107 or the Federal Aviation Regulations Part 107, which does make it commercial in nature. Okay. All right. Continuing with the drone questions. Here are the next couple. According to 14 CFR Part 48, when would a small unmanned aircraft owner not be permitted to register it? Is it A, all persons must register their small unmanned aircraft? B, if the owner does not have a valid U.S. driver's license? Or C, the owner is less than 13 years of age? All right, so in this case, the only one that will apply and the correct answer as we've shown here, so it's actually going to be the owner is less than 13 years of age. So any SUAS must be registered by a person who is at least 13 years of age. So that's the reason why that person happens to be omitted from it. Okay. All right, moving on. To avoid a possible collision with a manned airplane, you estimate that your small unmanned aircraft climb to an altitude greater than 600 feet AGL. To whom must you report this deviation? Is it A, upon the request of the FAA, B, the National Transportation Safety Board, or Air Traffic Control? All right, just waiting for one more person. All right, let's take a look at it. Everybody got 100%. So in this case, we're keeping in mind, it's only upon request and it will be due to the FAA. Okay, so upon request of the Federal Aviation Administration. All right, good job. All right, looking at your basic weather requirements. So the basic weather minimums for operating an SUAS up to 400 feet AGL limit are set a 900-foot ceiling and 3 statute miles visibility, 2,000-foot ceiling and 1 mile visibility, or clear of clouds and 2 miles visibility. I'm guessing these are good guesses, Ian. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it. We've got 75% of the class with the correct answer here. The rule of thumb, or actually the rule is, not rule of thumb, is going to be a 900-foot ceiling and 3 miles of visibility. Everything we usually deal with is statute miles. So 3 miles of visibility. All right, good job, everyone. All right, pushing along with the UAV questions. The most comprehensive information on a given airport is provided by. Is it going to be A, the chart supplement, which was formerly known as the airport facility directory, B, notice to airmen, NOTAMs, or C, the terminal area chart, also known as the TAC chart? All right, let's take a look at it. We've got 80% with A and 20% with B. The correct answer is actually going to be A. It's going to be the chart supplement, which was formerly known as the airport facility directory. Okay, so NOTAMs, or notice to airmen, they're going to basically advise of anything abnormal in the system, some type of abnormal operational system, abnormal operational status. And then the TAC chart, that's not really going to provide you a lot of information. It's just going to be a zoomed in version of a large area of a map. So those will not work in this case. All right, continuing on with NOTAMs we discussed the other day. Flight Data Center NOTAMs, known as FDC NOTAMs, are issued by the National Flight Data Center and contain regulatory information such as, is it A, markings and signs used at airports, B, standard communication procedures at uncontrolled airports, or C, temporary flight restrictions? All right, got almost everybody with their answer in so far. Let me take a look. All right, so let's take a look at it. The main thing that you're going to find in FTC NOTAM that's regulatory in nature, at least from the list on the board here, is actually going to be C. It's going to be a temporary flight restriction. So it only contains things that are regulatory in nature. They also contain a lot of things about instrument approaches and procedure changes, those types of things that are kind of outside the purview of the drone side of the house. Okay, but good job, everyone. All right, pushing on, using the figure on the right-hand side of the screen, what is the floor of the Savannah Class Charlie airspace at the shelf area? It's the outer circle. 4,100 feet, 1,300 feet AGL, or 1,700 feet MSL. It looks like there's a typo there. Sorry about that. That should actually read MSL as well. That should be mean sea level. All right, got the first half of the class in so far. All right, so let's take a look at it. Everybody got this one correct. It is going to be 1,300 feet. It should actually be 1,300 feet MSL, not AGL. Looking at the outer ring, you can see here in the two locations, we basically have the 41 over 13, which is basically the equivalent of saying that the Class Charlie airspace in that area is from 1,300 feet to 4,100 feet MSL. Okay, good job, everyone. All right, continuing on with the drone questions, almost the IFR stuff here. You received authorization to operate an SUAS at an airport. When flying the SUAS, the ATC tower instructs you to stay clear of all runways. Which situation would indicate that you're complying with this request? Is it A, you're on the double dashed yellow line side of markings near the runway? B, you are over dashed white lines in the center of the pavement? Or C, you are on the double solid yellow line side of markings near the runway? And then after this one, we're going to switch gears and go to the instrument side of the house. So for those, for the instrument rating in our instrument class, I have the most missed questions out of that group for what we've covered thus far. So we'll switch gears here in just a sec. All right, let's take a look. We got a little bit of split house here, 40% with A and the balance on C. So the C's actually have it. Majority of the class has it. It is you are on the double solid yellow line side of markings near the runway. Okay, so that's what we're looking for on that one. Okay, so remember your hold markings are indicated by 2 dashed and then 2 solid lines. You're considered to be on the taxiway on the double solid yellow line side, while you're actually considered to be on the runway if you're on the double dashed yellow line side, right? All right, switching gears here, we're going to cover the instrument test questions. So I've got these. These are from our instrument class that is currently going on. We just finished up our first week, and these are the ones that I'm seeing folks miss the most, okay? All right, so the use of certain portable electronic devices is prohibited on aircraft that are being operated under, is it IFR, VFR, or DVFR? Does anyone know what DVFR is? No clue. So a DVFR flight plan is also known as a defense VFR flight plan. So in the event that you're flying VFR and you want to cross the ADIS, or mainly, it doesn't matter if you leave the United States, it's only if you come back in. If you want to come back into the United States and cross the ADIS, you either need to be filed as IFR or you need to be on a DVFR flight plan. And it's basically going to tell whoever's concerned with it the time that you're crossing, the place that you're crossing, plus or minus a given number of minutes as well. That's what a DVFR flight plan is. All right, let's take a look at it. We get about 85% with the correct answer and 14% without here, but the correct answer is going to be IFR. Pretty simply, it's going to be more critical that you don't have any interference with any of your flight instruments, especially in IMC conditions. All right, continuing on. When are you required to have an instrument rating for flight in VMC? Is it A, flight through a MOA, B, I don't know why that's a duplicate, it's a freebie. Is it A, or is it going to be C, flight into class alpha airspace? A or C? And looking it up, it actually was B was supposed to be, until it was fat fingered in there, was the ADIS, which is also known as the Air Defense Identification Zone. So that's what the ADIS is. 50-50, exactly. You're good, Travis. You caught like 3 others, so. All right, so let's take a look at it. We've got about 100% of the class with the correct answer. So with a 50-50 shot there, the correct answer was actually C. It's flight into class alpha airspace. It's the only time that you're going to need an instrument rating and obviously be on an IFR flight plan to fly above 18,000. All right, continuing on with your safety pilot. What are the minimum qualifications for a person who occupies the other seat as a safety pilot during simulated instrument flight? Is it A, private pilot certificate with appropriate category and class ratings for the aircraft? B, private pilot certificate with appropriate, I don't know how that one I'll blame on Travis. Or is it C, private pilot with appropriate category, class, and instrument ratings? Sorry about that. I think it was fat fingered today. We have to copy these. We basically take them from the PowerPoint and then we have to copy them in the poll section. And occasionally, if we copy them, we're doing it really quickly. I've done this before. You accidentally copy answer A back into the PowerPoint if you're not careful. I've done that actually a couple of times. So yeah, exactly. We're making it easier at the end of the day, right? Uh, All right, let's take a look at it. We got 80% of the class with A, nobody on B for good reason, and the balance of the class on C here. So correct answer when we're looking at it is you need to at least have a private pilot certificate with the appropriate category and class ratings for whatever aircraft you are going to be flying in. Okay. All right, moving on. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. When ATC has not imposed any climb or descent restrictions and aircraft are within 1,000 feet of assigned altitudes, pilot should attempt to both climb and descend at a rate of between 500 and 1,000 feet per minute, 500 and 1,500 feet per minute, or 1,000 to 2,000 feet per minute. What is considered the optimum rate? All right, let's take a look at it. We got 70% with A and the balance with B. Actually, the non-majority side of the class actually has it correct here. So what we're looking at is going to be somewhere between 500 and 1,500 feet per minute. So the descend or climb, you always want to descend or climb at an optimum rate that basically follows the characteristics of the aircraft to 1,000 feet above or below the assigned altitude. So, and then what you'd want to do is attempt to descend or climb at a rate between 500 to 1,500 feet per minute until the assigned altitude is actually reached. Okay, so that's what we're looking for there. All right, continuing on, looking at basically an in-op piece of equipment here. What action should you take if your DME fails at flight level 240? Is it A, advise ATC of the failure and land at the nearest available airport where repairs can be made? B, notify ATC that it will be necessary for you to go to a lower altitude since your DME has failed. Or C, notify ATC of the failure and continue to the next airport of intended landings where repairs can be made. Exactly, Ian. A is not absolutely incorrect, but B is a better answer on that last one. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at it. Seems like it's a 50-50 between B and C with this class, but the correct answer is actually going to be C. So remember, anytime that you have a flight above 24,000 feet MSL, if the VOR navigational equipment is required, then If you're flying within the United States, then you're going to be required to have DME, right? That's the last D under grab card. It's two D's at the end. So if your DME fails at or above flight level 240, then what you should do is just notify ATC immediately. And then you can actually continue operations at or above flight level 240 and just fix it upon the next landing. Okay, so wherever you can make repairs. So answer is going to be C, notify ATC of the failure, continue to the next airport of intended landing where repairs can be made. It's not necessary that you actually descend below 24,000 feet. So that's the reason why B is incorrect there. All right, continuing on to the next one. What are the vertical limits of a transition area that is designated in conjunction with an airport having a prescribed IAP? Is it A, surface to 700 feet AGL, B, 1,200 feet AGL to the base of the overlying controlled airspace, or C, 700 feet AGL or more to the base of the overlying controlled airspace? All right, got almost everybody in there. Just waiting for a few more answers here. All right. only only a couple people got this one right. So 11% of the class got it right. The correct answer is actually going to be C. It's 700 feet AGL or more to the base of the overlying controlled airspace, whatever that is. So remember that the transition area is traditionally a class Echo airspace, and it starts from 700 feet or more above the surface anytime that it's designated in conjunction with an airport for which an instrument approach procedure, that's what the IAP means, instrument approach procedure, has been prescribed. And then it extends up to the overlying airspace or the overlying controlled airspace, that is. So surface to 700 doesn't really work. There is no such thing as echo from surface to 700. It will either start at the surface, but that's designated for an airport environment. 1,200 AGL is the normal altitude that class Echo basically starts, and then it was 1,200 AGL up to, but not including 18,000. But the transition area that's typically attached to these airports will be 700 feet AGL or more. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it for the next one. When a pilot believes advanced avionics enable operations closer to personal or environmental limits, is it A, greater utilization of the aircraft is achieved, B, risk is increased, and C, risk is decreased? Good job, Ian. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it. We've got about 20% with A, 70% with B, and the balance of folks on C. So anytime that we're using advanced avionics, keep in mind that if it's enabling you to get closer to your personal or environmental limitations, then it's basically increasing your risk at that point. It's definitely not gonna decrease your risk, and that's kind of what we're looking at. This is more of a risk management question in that section. So remember that they can have, while it can give you more tools in your toolkit and help you out with SRM, it actually has kind of a more negative effect on pilot risk-taking behavior, because when we have more information, this basically results in the pilots taking more risk than they might be willing to accept without that information. Okay, so anytime we're talking about advanced avionics, they should be used to increase safety and not risk at the end of the day. Okay. All right, looking at your airspace. If anyone remembers this from your private pilot days, what are your normal lateral limits for Class Delta airspace? Is it going to be 7, 8, or 4 nautical miles? About half the class in so far. All right, looks good so far. We got 9% with 8 or B, and then we got the balance of the class, majority of the class with the correct answer. It's actually going to be C. So the radius is 4 nautical miles. I think if anybody was thinking 8, that's the diameter. So because it's 4 nautical mile radius, but that is the correct answer, everybody. All right, moving on to the next test question here. Let me go ahead and move this forward. Get rid of that one. All right, so the local altimeter setting should be used by all pilots in a particular area, primarily to provide, is it A, the cancellation of altimeter error due to non-standard temperatures aloft, B, better vertical separation, once again, fat fingered, or B? I'm gonna look at the rest of these here. Pitch. All the others look fine. I think we got 3 more after this. You like these 50-50, huh? Too bad the FAA test isn't like that. All right, let's take a look at it. We got 90% of the class with the correct answer and just one person with the incorrect answer here. So we have B, which is going to be better vertical separation of aircraft. So the whole purpose of the altimeter system actually provides this means, if you will, to correct the altimeter for pressure variations. And the reason why we do that is the number one reason is going to be to ensure safe terrain clearance for instrument approaches and landings, and then also to maintain the vertical separation between aircraft during instrument weather conditions. So those are the primary reasons. Yeah, just nice, I guess. All right, let's go ahead and continue with the last 3 of the day, and then we'll kind of open it up. Wrong one. The primary reason the angle of attack must be increased to maintain a constant altitude during a coordinated turn is because, is it A, thrust is acting in a different direction, causing a reduction in airspeed and loss of lift, B, vertical component of lift is decreased as a result of the bank, or C, use of ailerons has increased the drag. All right, you guys all got it correct here. So correct answer, as you guys have all stated, is going to be B, as the vertical component of lift is decreased as the result of bank. Okay, so anytime that we're in a bank, we will obviously have something occur to the aircraft. So one of the consequences is that the reduced vertical component of lift results in a loss of altitude unless we do one of the following. So we can increase the angle of attack of the wing, we can increase the airspeed, or we can increase the angle of attack and the airspeed in combination. One of the three options there. All right, second to last one of the day here. Errors in both pitch and bank indication on an attitude indicator are usually at a maximum as the aircraft rolls out of what? Is it 180, 270, or 360-degree turn? All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it. We've got about 36% with A, 9% with B, and 54% with C. So the correct answer is actually going to be, not that one. It's actually going to be A. It's a 180-degree turn. So the main thing is that our errors are always going to be greatest than a 180-degree steep turn. And the errors are actually caused by the movement in the pendularis vanes by centrifugal force, which results in the precession of the gyro towards the inside of the turn. All right. So with that, that basically wraps up all of the test questions that we saw being most missed from both the drone class and also the IFR class. So with that, I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. If you have any questions, I will stick around. If you do have a question, just make sure to include the question and also the potential answers. It makes it a little bit easier. But other than that, we'll see you in class on Monday for the IFR class. Have a good weekend, everybody. So nice, short, and sweet, right? 40 minutes. That's probably one of the faster ones that we've been able to do this. Usually it's some of the larger ones takes like an hour or so, but at least we're able to power through these. Thanks again to the moderators helping out on all the platforms. Do really appreciate it. And we will be back in class on Monday, tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific time. So Have a good weekend, everybody. Sherry, if you lost sound, you can always watch the recording of this. We'll post it just very shortly afterwards. If there are no more questions, I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I'm going to sign off and I'll leave the chat open for just another minute for you to conclude any last minute conversations that you guys may or may not be having. All right, take care, everyone. Stay safe, and we'll see you tomorrow. Just kidding. Eric threw a question out right as we were signing off here. So is there an E6 solution or something different? What CAS must be used to maintain a filed true airspeed of 158 knots at 8,000 feet MSL if the outside air temperature is 0 degrees? So there is an E6 solution. What I can do is I can share it with you in class tomorrow. I actually have a slide on it. But if you're looking at your E6B, what you want to do is go to the flight computer side. I don't have one set up right this second, but there is right between your 25 and 30 on the inner scale, there's something that basically says, let's see if I can hide behind this. There's something that basically says CAS right here, and that's basically what we're using as the standard point. And all you're going to do is put that word CAS under your approximate speed. So let me share the slide with you, Eric. Give me 1 second on that. Ian, how long does a passing grade on an IFR written test last? It's also 24 months as well. Everybody has their E6B available. Come on, Alex. So. Let me see if I can bring this up here for you, okay? All right, so obviously the easiest way to do it is pretty much just going to be, if you have an electronic E6B, then it's literally just plugging in the numbers. In the event that you don't have an electronic E6B, then I'll see if I can find one real quick so I can share it on the screen here for you. E6B flight computer. I know UND has one that we can take a look at. I don't like the I have a digital one. It's just a matter of it's a little bit more complicated to use. Let's see, flight computer. Alex got 140 on his CAS, so let me scooter this over here. All right, so when you look at your E6B, there's a couple different things that you're gonna really pay attention to. And let me go back to your test question because it's asking more specifically what it is. So give me 1 second here. Let me bring that up. Was that the only question that you had for the E6B? No, you had more questions. What was your other question while I'm pulling this up here for you? What CAS must be used to maintain a filed true airspeed of 180 knots at 12,000 feet? So first thing you're going to do is when we look at the device on this side, you see these inner ones right here. So You're first going to use the density altitude portion of it, and then what you're going to do is you're going to read the information on the inner and the outer scale. So in this case, what we have is basically all of them. We have 12,000 feet and an air temperature of +5 degrees. I'm assuming that's Celsius. So very simply on the bottom scale here, just go ahead and find in that one, that last, let's see here. Let me go up because you guys keep moving these. All right, so in the last one that you just gave me, I think it was the second one, Eric is giving us specific information that is trying to calculate the CAS. So I'm not going to do the last one. I'm going to do that middle one that we started with. So we've got a 12,000 feet MSL and +5 degrees Celsius. So all you're going to do is go on your E6B and you'll see that this is 10,000. We got 15,000 here and it's going to be +5. So all I'm going to do is there's 0 over the 11, 0 over the 12, and there is roughly +5. Then, see, Alex is giving you all the answers here. Then with that one, our potential answer set will be 147. Go back up since it keeps going down here. The potential answer set was 147, 150, or 154. And we had a true airspeed in this case of 180. Okay, so what you do is on the outer scale here, see where the 1.8 is? You're just going to go to 1.8, and that's 180. And you read on the inner scale whatever the CAS is. So here's 140, 145, 146, 147-ish is right there on the map. Okay. If I look at your last one here, yeah, you got all of them. Get that massive E6B. It'd be a lot faster than searching for all this stuff. All right, the next one is 8,000 feet MSL with an outside air temperature of 8 degrees Celsius. So same thing applies. You're going to go to the pressure altitude here. I'm going to find 8,000 and +8. So there is, what is that? 1, 2, 3. That's 0 over 8. So let me find +8. See, as approximate as I can get that, it's roughly +8. Now what I'm going to do is figure out the airspeed that we had. So our true airspeed was, once again, 180 knots. So I find 180 in this case on the outside ring there, and then I'm going to read the answer on the inside ring. So there's 150. And these look like they're going by 2s. So the best answer I can give you is going to be 157 because there's 156 and 158. So it seems to be right in between there. Okay. It's the first one that was a problem. Okay, let's look at the first one then as well. So your first one, Eric, was what is the calibrated airspeed must be used to maintain a filed true airspeed of 158 knots. So we've got 8,000 and 0 degrees. This one is going to be set up the exact same way. So we're basically going to take the 8,000 here and put it over 0. So there's what, 9 and 8. So that's 8 over 0. And then we have a true airspeed of 158. So I'm going to go to the 16, which would be pretty close to 160 knots. I'll go a little bit beyond behind that. And it is giving me about 140-ish. It's probably about 140 is what I'm seeing. Okay, so the reason why is it may not be exactly on there, and I may have the number slightly askew, but it falls kind of right in this little area right there where that where my mouse is, if you were to look at it a little bit closer. Does that make sense? Yeah, you got to do the density. You got to basically start on that density one. The main thing is that we're not looking at the density altitude here. We're just using this, and then we're using the scale, the inner and the outer scale, to figure out what it is. So we basically bypass the density altitude function. That's all. Any other questions? Nope. Okay. All right, everyone. Have a fantastic weekend as always. And like I said, if you got any more questions, reach out to us and we'll be happy to answer them. Otherwise, we'll talk a little bit later in class. So with that, have a great weekend, everyone. Take care.